Hi.
Hello there. Hello, Bjorn. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. It's first. Well, it's not the first interview of today, but pretty much. So you got me fresh.
Congratulations on finishing your brand new album. It is dedicated to the fans this time. The band seems to have a really, really strong bond to the fans. Do you have any idea how it happened? Why is that?
Well, they're the only reason why we could continue doing this. I mean, if nobody was listening to what we're doing or supporting us, it wouldn't be nearly as fun and probably not even possible. So, and it's not something we take with ease, because we understand this is a relationship that goes both ways. The moments when we're on stage, I have to say, are the strongest for me, like the most important. And that's when there's people in my face, I see their smiles and I see them singing along, and it's, there's no way to describe it otherwise than the music that we do is for them. Obviously we write for us first, but we need the support in able to, to be able to go on tour, which I think is the better part of being in a band, playing your own songs, drinking beer with friends, all that. The good stuff that you only dreamed of, and that is so hard to explain for 9 to 5 people.
Yeah.
So it's totally that, and we know we're very fortunate having a solid fan base, people that are as curious as us, that love melodies, and willing to support and come out and see us play and hang out.
Do you think that maybe it could be that technology, the internet and all that, has made it easier for the fans to kind of get to, well, I'm going to put it in brackets, know you?
Sure, that if you really like a band, this day and age is so much better in a way than it was, like, say, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it is, as you said, you get to know your the band you like, because you can see them interacting on social media. You can basically just reach out and talk to people if you want to, if they're willing to answer. And I do the same thing. If I see either a colleague or somebody I look up to, I might drop a private message or send a picture or of us meeting or something like that. It's fantastic. That wasn't possible a bunch of years ago, so that definitely helped. But also it comes with a drawback, because
that's it, yeah.
All of a sudden everybody is a critic as well, and
Yes.
even without knowing about a band, they could just start saying bad things about it too. So I don't know, accessibility is great. It's sort of like freedom under your own responsibility, and I think also that it is that easy for bands. I think it's really hard for up and coming new bands.
Yes.
To stand out in the throng of bands out there, because everybody has a super nice internet platform, Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, and so I think it's way harder for new up and coming bands than it is for us old walruses, Yeah, it's good and bad.
Ironically, the album is actually about technology and how it creates difficulties for people to interact in the real world with each other. But as you said, yes, it's the positives and the negatives as well.
No, I agree, and I think Instagram is a perfect example of how it could be used for good and for bad. Because a lot of people, not saying that I'm not included, but a lot of times it's you try to portray only the good sides of your life. But everybody, that's just like putting on a mask.
That's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's sort of a little bit of what this is about. Not in particular any social media platform, but it is about, you can decide what parts of you show to the world. And then it's very how do you say, it's censored in a way, but you're the censor yourself. Then it gets harder to interact on a deeper level for people. And it's again, there's some good things, because you can show people that you're having a great time, but then people start believing you have a great time, and inside you might not be such a happy-go-lucky person, you know what I mean?
This is the second time that you have the producer Howard Benson working with you. He was on Battles, and I remember 2 years ago when I interviewed Niklas, he said that going to California, it was like having the Van Halen album for In Flames.
Yeah, well, I mean, the reaction, basically what we did, we recorded Siren Charms, the album before that, before Battles, in Berlin at winter. So it was like November, December, and it was super cold, wet and gray. And that sort of trickled into the album, and we didn't realize until afterwards that we had created something very, how do you say, kind of a sad, dark vibe throughout the album. We didn't think about it because it didn't occur to us when we were writing it, because that was done back home. But as soon as we had the end results, like, wow, this is a very sad piece, you know. So, and then so environment must have something to do with it, and that's why we let's see, let's go somewhere else and see if that affects the album. And then we had a bunch of interviews with different producers, and Howard just said the right things, and luckily he was based in LA. So for us it was like a perfect mix, and that process was so good and so easy, so inspiring and eye-opening for us, because we never really understood how to work with a producer, because we've had people trying to produce us in the past, but they always got demoted to basically engineers, which is nothing bad. That's not what I'm saying, but it's not like producing, because we were really protective of our music. But he opened that up, and he made us work together in a way more open way, me and Anders especially. So and this is something that we really enjoyed. So talking about recording Out of the Mask is like, okay, you know, we know exactly what we want to do. We've done it once before, so we don't need to be as prepared as we were on Battles. We can just go there and write, and then sort of seamlessly go from the demo stage writing stuff into the actual recording with the same team, same setup. But the only difference that we had Chris Lord-Alge mix it. So for us, it was like coming home in a way, and it was amazing.
Well, it kind of imposed itself upon you that you would work with him again anyway. It looks like it, really. That
Absolutely. Because the setup and the people he's working with, Mike Plotnikoff and Hutch and all those guys, it's like they know us by now, and they are just super efficient, which gave us not only like a great time in the studio, but we also were so efficient that our energy wasn't spent by the end of the day. We just spent 5-6 hours in the studio, and then we can go back to the house where we have our small studio and continue writing while we were still recording the albums. And that's never happened before. You know, you can sit there for 8 hours just finding the right kick drum sound, or, you know, and that's really mind numbing after a while. You know, so since this was so efficient, it gave us a lot of energy left over to write, and that, you know, that's for us a very new thing and very positive thing.
That's good. You could write an album every year like that.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, with that setup and us being, having said that, I mean, for us, for me especially, I love touring, and for me, albums have essentially been, you know, a means for me to go on the road again. So it's not what I'm looking forward to the most, but having this setup now, I wouldn't mind, you know what I mean? But I think having that, those experiences now has changed the way I look at the recordings. I was like, it's always been like you have to switch on the writing mode, and we don't write on the road at all. So it's like, then, you know, it's going to be like 6 months of writing and demos and then recording, you know, and this way it's more like, well, we feel good. We've done a lot of touring. Let's see if he's free in, you know, February to, I don't know, May. And he was. It's okay, let's make another one. Nobody pressured us into it. It was us that we wanted to experience that again. So it's a good feeling to have. It's probably one of the first times I felt like doing a record again.
Okay.
So, in a way, it's not that harsh. It's like the first time I felt like this was awesome last time. I wouldn't mind doing it soon again. So it's not from record labels or management. It was us. We wanted to do it again. We had a great time.
Oh, right. So he could be like an extra member of your group in a sense, like,
In a way, I think the whole, again, the setup he asked was super positive. It's nice to be in LA, even if it's February, it's going to be, I don't know, 25 to 30 degrees, it's okay, yeah. Yeah, it's okay, cold beer and a lot of good food, so, and a lot of friends over there now, too, so, it's easy, yeah.
That's good. I understand that this is the first time that you actually wrote in tandem with Anders, so maybe Howard said to you, try it this way, or how did that come about? Sorry.
Yeah, that was basically Howard that said that, well, we understood the necessity of, if we're going to work with a producer as Howard Benson, who has done all these productions, all these bands, anything from Motorhead to rock pop, and he knows what he's doing. Maybe we should listen to him. First time listening to a producer, and that included us having to work more openly with each other. And we found that our setup in the house was perfect. I could work with Anders on the vocal ideas. Obviously, he writes all the lyrics, and basically, I could work with Anders on the vocal lines, and he could work with me on the guitar parts and arrangements and everything. So it was a give and take, which means that all of a sudden we could have this really cool vocal line, that, I need to change my riff now, and we changed it, and then it turned into something better. We could take care of all the small bumps and glitches right around the demo stage, instead of just recording everything solid, and then him having to put his vocals on top of that. So it's way more integrated this way, and that's something we haven't done before. And we did that on Battles first time, and even more so on this Eye the Mask. Yeah.
I understand that Anders took singing lessons for the album, like quite intensive, 3 days a week. That's a really cool challenge to impose on oneself. That's for sure. Is it something that he thought about for quite a while, and it finally he materialized?
No, that's something that Howard said earlier. Like, hey man, you should try taking vocal lessons. If for nothing else, it might be fun, and it's it's only for you to get to know your own voice. It's not to change you into opera thing or anything like that. It's, get to know your own voice, be better at it. And Anders met this guy, Mark, in LA. He's a vocal coach and he knows a lot about the screaming. I am about to wrap it up here, I heard. But he knows a lot about the kind of singer Anders is, or, where you spent a lot of your career. And he just worked really well with Anders. They formed a really cool bond already on Battles. And this time around, he said, I want to do even more, So they worked together really closely, and the end result was great because it helps us so much when we're sitting writing and just trying out demo vocals and stuff like that. So it was a very good decision.
Is there yourself any maybe genre that you have recently explored in order to evolve in your musical journey at all? Or
I am very conservative.
Okay.
I have my Van Halen records, and I have my Rainbow and Purple records, Metallica and all that stuff. So no, I think that what we're doing is trying to make melodies first and foremost that mean something to us, and try to put them in a different sort of clothing every time. And it's just the writing result is pretty much the same that we've done in the past. It's just the method of getting there has changed, and I like this way better than it has been in the past. It's been very mine, and yours is yours, now it's us, which makes it stronger, I think.
Okay. From the new album, which song are you most looking forward to be playing on stage?
Oh, that would be any of them.
Any?
We haven't even rehearsed anything yet. This is, as I said, we wrote in the studio, we recorded it, and not even the whole band was there while recording it. So we haven't played a single note together, and I'm just excited. We have a few songs already in the first couple of set lists here. We go to the US in a couple of weeks for a tour, and so we're going to try out some material there. It's going to be good.
Okay. Listen, thanks very much for your time. This has been brilliant.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.